When the market starts to pay you more for holding something in less time, you know there's a problem.
I got a quick question for you, Trap, because I keep hearing about this inverted yield curve, and every time I hear about it, I kind of understand it, but it's hard for me to internalize it. So I was wondering if you could describe the inverted yield curve phenomenon to us in trapper language. And also, could you tell us, how does this inverted yield curve phenomenon impact our portfolios in the short term and the long term?
So what you normally want in this game is you want that, so the 10-year, remember, this is the one where everything is based on. Your car, your house, this is the one that makes the most. This is the one, remember when Donald Trump, when we said, hey, there's pressure. When we say there's pressure in the market, the bonds made him do this, right? It's because this bad boy here is the one, right? So this is what a lot of stuff is based on. The bond market is what a lot of stuff is based on. And so this is a normal market, right? In a normal market, you'll have the 10-year has whatever that is, whatever the rate is on that. So let's say it's 4, let's say 7. Let's say that 4.2. What you don't want to see is them cross. And the reason why is that tells us that something is off in the economy, right? Because anytime, hear me here, anytime the market rewards us for more short term than long term, that means the market has ultimately had some type of disruption because now people are trying to hurry up and get short-term cash. Does that make sense? What we want to put that in perspective is like this. Anytime there's a higher demand for a shorter-term bond and the rate on that gets higher than holding something longer term, we know that something is broke in the economy. Let's go a little further. I'm going to show you how this makes sense. The market naturally rewards you more for long-term holding. Does that make sense? Just naturally. Naturally, why? Because the market gets to do what? Tie your money up and use that money. Right? We on it? We making sense here? Anytime the return on that switches, where the market says, hey, we're willing to give you more for this short term than this long term, we know that there's some type of panic in the market. What that also doubles down and says is that now the rate at which everything is on, your house, your car, and everything, now if the market can't get people to sit there because there's no returns on that, that's an inclement idea that, hey, something is wrong in the market. Because essentially the market wants to lock you in on longer term rates. We good here? We good? So now what happens is if that starts to invert, it's a sign that there is a recession or something on the way, because now the market is saying everybody now wants what? Short term. All right? So here's the thing. Watch this. If we remember, watch this. If we remember during the pandemic, we was inverted for 18 months. And everybody kept saying a recession is on the way. Because an inverted yield curve says typically a recession happens 18 months later. Watch this. What you about to say? Watch this. That happened in what? The yield curve inverted in 2020. Watch this. In 2022, we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP, which is a recession. But under Joe Biden, they said, we not in no recession. But technically, we were. They try to reword it, they try to redescribe it. So essentially, the yield curve is always used as a metric that says when the yield curve gets inverted, a recession follows, 8 to 18 months later, we stayed in that for 22 months. And we got the recession back-to-back months of negative growth in 2022. So what that tells us is when that 10 and 2 cross and they not going how they naturally supposed to go, it's one of the biggest warning signs that you can ever get that a recession is on the way. Because now the market no longer wants to be in the 10-year. So anytime you hear that the yield curve has inverted, right, you can understand that. And so what happens is there's a lesser demand. Okay, here's an even greater scenario to put that. Investors, ooh, this is about to be good. This is about to be good. Watch this. When the stock market, when the economy does not look well to people, they run to bonds. When the economy doesn't look well, when people look for safety in the economy, they run to two places: precious metals, gold, silver, and T-notes. Why do you think Warren Buffett printed so much money? Well, it showed us. He had $300 billion in what? Treasury bills. More bills than who? The Federal Reserve. Why? He was buying them every Monday. He was buying them every Monday, and those bills, those notes do what? Pay him interest. So he was buying 90-day notes, which means he buy the note, they pay him interest, and then they give him his money back. So every Monday, what he was going to do was buy a couple $1 billion worth of notes. So that's how Berkshire kept on printing so much money. They kept printing so much money not because the operation was printing so much money, but the interest that he was getting on those 90 days, because he was putting 10, 20, $30 billion of them every Monday, the interest that we was paying them, remember, America pays what? About $2 billion a day in interest on the debt. Well, those bonds are a debt, and we got to keep servicing that debt. No matter who got it, we got to service the debt, which is the interest on the debt. So when investors feel, we had a bond auction today, as a matter of fact. So now when you're looking at CNBC, one of the things you can start looking up is when there is a bond office. You'll hear about this guy named Rick Santelli. He's the dude with the glasses that talk really, 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 really fast, and he's always excited. His name is Rick Santelli. He will always tell you what the bond auction did. He will say, today we had a 30-year bond auction. Today we had a 10-year bond year auction. Today we had a 20-year bond auction. Today we had a two-year bond auction. America is selling the bonds, right, so they can do other stuff, or they're refinancing bonds. And so every time you buy those bonds, America has to pay you. You can go to your bank and say, hey, I want to buy these bonds. Or you can go to USTreasuryDirect.gov and buy bonds. They won't discriminate on you. I think the less you got to spend is $1,000, right? If you just want to buy some bonds. What America does when the economy is shaky, investors go to bonds. So when they pick in one bond over the other, then that yield will invert. When that inverts, that means there's not a demand for one and there's more demand for the other. So when they invert like that, that means there's panic somewhere. Something is broken, which is why they said when the 10-year got to 4.5, and America started tripping, and it was like, hey, Donald Trump, you need to do something right here. It wasn't about nobody else putting pressure. Remember they said this for sure. They said, hey, if the 10-year goes to 4.5 or past 4.5, something can break in the economy. That's why that made more sense to us. Watch this. What do they mean, Trap? Something can break. That means you applied, so that means there's no demand for the 10-year. If there's no demand for it, guess what got to happen? The yield got to go up. because that means nobody won't buy it, and we gotta make it attractive. So as much as that yield go up, so watch this. Why does something break, Trap? Well, if nobody don't want to buy it, that means a debt can't be serviced somewhere. And if a debt can't be serviced somewhere, something breaks. Let me make that make sense to you. If you in your house and you can't pay the light bill, the lights go off. That means something broke in the house. You can't pay the light bill, but you paid the water, the gas, right? Well, I didn't have the money to pay the light bill, so something broke in the house. All right, well, the next month come, I pay the light bill, but I can't pay the gas bill. Something broke in the house, right? A mechanism to make the house move at a high functionality, it broke. Same thing happens in the economy. If we can't get people to buy the 10-year, then what happens is the rate on it has to keep rising so we can make it attractive. If it does not get attractive at 4 or 5, something breaks. To all my people who are in the Patreon, you remember last year, it got to 5.1, and we just saw blood for weeks. And I said, hey, y'all, if this thing don't go drop down from 5.1, we in trouble because it can't stay here long because it's going to break something in the economy. So the Fed came and said, hey, we need to cut the rates by 0.75%. What that did, it relieved some pressure. It's a pressure valve. So we think, remember what I said this to y'all a couple weeks ago? I said the stock market is just the what? The pretty face. But the bond market is the heart and soul of America. The stock market is just the pretty face. It's the one that get all the glitz and all the glamour. But the bond market is the heart and soul of America. Why? Because we use bonds to finance everything that going on in America. The thing about the bond market is we gotta pay the interest. That's why Warren Buffett he owned more bonds than the Federal Reserve. So in essence, here's what people don't know. I'm about to say something that's gonna shake us. He is actually probably the top 3 most powerful men in America. Because if he ever said, hey, I won't cash in all $300 billion of my bonds, America couldn't pay him. You would rather him own it than a foreign entity own it, which is why he said, don't bet against America. He actually, even though he making money on it, he actually put America in a really cool place. Because if he ever said, hey, you know what, man, just give me all my money, all 300, something would break.